So let's look at determining linear rules. So this is us getting some information and then figuring out what the linear rule is, the linear equation from that information. So generally we need two pieces of information. So let's go through those scenarios. The first one is when we get given the gradient and the y-intercept. Now, if we know the gradient and the y-intercept, then we can put those into our y equals mx plus c form. All right, so first one, determine the rule of the line whose gradient is -2 and y-intercept is 3. So y equals, our gradient is -2, x, and our y-intercept is 3. So that's our rule. Okay, determine the rule of the line whose gradient is 1/2 and the y-intercept is -2. Okay, so y equals m equals 1/2 and c equals -2. So I write -2 there. And they're those rules. And determine the rule whose gradient is 1 and y-intercept is 5. So I've got my m equal to 1 and c equal to 5. So y equals, so m equals to 1, so 1x, which I just write as x, and 5 like so. Okay, now the next method, finding the rule given the gradient and the coordinates of one point. So if we find the gradient, if we know the gradient and any point along that line, then we can figure out the y-intercept and therefore figure out the rest of the equation. So this all comes back to the form y equals mx plus c. All right, so determine the rule of a straight line that goes through the point 1, -3 if its gradient is -2. Okay, so I know that, I don't know, oh yes I do, the gradient is -2 and the point I know is 1, -3. Okay, so I start with y equals mx plus c, and then I sub in my point 1, -3 into y equals mx plus c. All right, so my y value is -3 and my m is -2 times by my x value of 1, and then my c I don't know, which is what I'm trying to find, the y-intercept. So -3 equals -2 plus c. So I have to solve for c, so I'm going to add -2 to both sides. So adding, -3 plus 2 becomes -1 equals to c. So therefore y equals -2x minus 1. So determine the rule of a straight line that goes through the point -1, -2 if its gradient is 3. So we know the gradient is equal to 3 and we know that point it goes through. So our general form is y equals mx plus c. So I know m is 3, so 3x plus c. So then I can sub in -1, -2, which implies, okay, so -2 equals to 3 times by negative 1 plus c. So that's negative 2 equals negative 3 plus c. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So negative 2 plus 3 becomes positive 1. So that all means, therefore, y equals 3x plus 1. My y-intercept is at 0, 1. So determine rule of a straight line that goes through the point 6, 8 if its gradient is a half. Okay, so m equals 1 over 2, a half, and we also know 6, 8. All right, so our general form is y equals mx plus c. So we know that the equation must be y equals half x plus whatever c is. So now I subbing the point I know into the equation. So 8 equals half times 6 plus c. And now I have to solve for c. So 8 equals 3 plus c. I'm taking away 3 from both sides. So 5 equals c. So therefore, the equation is y equals half x plus 5. Okay, so the last one we're going to look at is finding the rule given the point coordinates of 2 points. So if you know any 2 points on a straight line, we can then figure out the rest of the equation, because from those 2 points we can find the gradient. We were doing that the other day. So using that gradient and one of those points, we can then figure out the equation. Okay, so let's find the rule of a straight line passing through the points negative 1, 6 and 3, negative 2. So I always like to write out the information from the question myself, so it's nice and clear. So I take the important parts of the information from the question and I write it out. I think that's an important thing to do to help you interpret any written questions. Okay, so then I'm going to use that to figure out my gradient. So which is going to be 0.1, which is going to be 0.2. I always have 0.1 as being the one with the lowest x value. So this will be 0.1 and that will be 0.2. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So m equals negative 2, take away 6 over 3 minus negative 1. So m equals negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8 over 3 minus negative 1, 3 plus 1, so that's 4. So negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. So knowing that, I then get my general form. I've figured out my m down here, so I put that in there. And then I pick either one of these, it doesn't matter which, to go into the equation. How do I pick? Sometimes I pick, you know, if there's one with no negative numbers in it, I'll pick that one. This I might go, oh, for a change, you know, these numbers look fairly nice, I'll sub that one in. Negative 1, 6 I'll sub it into here, so that's 6 equals 2 times negative 1 plus c. So 6 equals negative 2 plus c. I have to add 2 to both sides, so that's 8 equals to c. Therefore, our equation, our rule, is y equals 2x plus 8. Okay, so find the rule of the straight line passing through the points negative 2, negative 1, and 3, 9. Okay, so I've got negative 2, negative 1, and 3, 9. All right, so m equals 9 minus negative 1 over 3 minus negative 2 equals, so 9 minus negative 1, so that's 9 plus 1, gives me 10, over 3 minus negative 2, so that's 3 plus 2, that's 5, so m equals to 2. So I got y equals 2x plus c, and then I'll substituting one of these points, I might substituting 3, 9 into the equation, so that's 9 equals to 2 times 3 plus c, so 9 equals 6 plus c. Now I have to subtract 6 from both sides, so 9 minus 6 is 3 equal to c. Therefore, the equation is y equals 2x plus 3. Now, sometimes you just get given a graph, and so you have to figure it out from there. Now, you could pick any line on here, but you should be picking points where you can see the coordinates very clearly. All those coordinates are marked. So here, the intercepts are marked. So we know our two intercepts are 0, 4, and 2, 0. So my gradient is 0 minus 4 over 2 minus 0. So m equals negative 4 over 2. So m equals negative 2. Okay, so I've got y equals negative 2x plus c. I might put in the one where x is equal to 0 into here, because that's the y-intercept anyway. Well, actually, that's the y-intercept, isn't it? So, if that's the y-intercept, well, I'll substitute it in anyway to prove it. That's 0, 4, substituting in to give you 4 equals to negative 2 times by 0 plus c, so that's 4 equal to c. So therefore y equals negative 2x plus 4.